It's been said that buying a house is a person's biggest investment, their biggest expense in their lifetime. And I would say that's true for the average person. And for some people, buying a motorhome or buying an RV is their house. So an RV purchase would be their biggest investment or biggest purchase in a lifetime. Now, for many people, they do not live in their RV. They live in their house and they travel on occasion in their RV. But I want to talk about tonight, whatever situation you may be in, three things that you should consider before buying an RV. Because just like a house, it is a house on wheels and it is a huge expense, especially depending on the type of RV you get. So the first and most crucial thing that you need to ask yourself, you need to consider before buying an RV is, where are you going to park it? Because having a house on wheels is great, but if you don't have a place to park it, it will become a burden, not a blessing. And it will not be a sanctuary to rest. It will be a pain to tow or a pain to find parking. So before you consider buying Bitcoin, and I see Coconuts is happy, and I congratulate him because Bitcoin is up to 47,000 when I make this live feed, because Elon Musk directed Tesla Corporation to buy 1.5 billion worth. And that's not my thing, but I congratulate those who invest in Bitcoin or any stock or things like that. I give them credit. But it's an emotional thing when you buy a stock and when it goes up and down. And for some people, they have the stomach to wait it out. And some people make out. And it's an emotional thing when you buy an RV or a house. Anytime you put big money on the line, money bag emoji Coconuts, anytime you put big money on the line, it's an investment or it's entertainment line item in your budget, but it's still a very emotional thing. You know, I've been considering buying an RV and I've looked at a wide spectrum. Here's a bonus. One thing you really have to consider when we're talking about buying an RV is, are you going to have a motorhome or a travel trailer? A motorhome, you jump in it, you drive it, there's no towing needed. Travel trailer, you need a tow-rated vehicle, and now you have two components, and you're going to separate them at the campground or home base, wherever you park it, and then you're going to, move around in your regular vehicle. I would say when it comes to a travel trailer would be the cheapest option, and the travel trailer, the main benefit there is there's no motor. And that's a major component you have to think about. But you have to either have a tow vehicle or want to tow. Okay. But these are all things that become overwhelming emotionally as you go down this list. And it's like trying to figure out, well, it's not like trying to figure out what house to buy. Okay. Because a house on average will tend to go up over time. An RV on average will tend to go down in value over time. Now, there's some exceptions to all these things, especially, with the pandemic, but we're talking about averages and we're talking about Bitcoin exploded. I got a $20 super chat and I want to directly thank Coconuts and Elon Musk. Because Elon Musk is making Coconuts a billionaire, okay? And the money, okay, is trickling down just like Ronald Reagan said it would. Now, I didn't vote for Reagan. I was still a kid, but I'm just trying to say it. Coconuts, thank you, brother. I remember all the way from New Jersey, man. Before any big super chats, I remember you said to me when I came back up to New Jersey, living in my Jeep, not an RV. You said, Sam, hang in there. I want to see you drinking those coconuts again, because I was very happy last winter. And then over the summer, man, you've just been a tremendous support. I remember the gas fund and all the things you do for me. And again, you don't owe me anything. I'm not Elon Musk. Elon Musk is the cause of your Bitcoin, but I'm happy for you. And you earned it. Look, I tell you and I tell Challenger the welder, anyone who buys and holds a stock, look, if it goes down, you suffer. But if it goes up, you're rewarded. I don't have the stomach for that, but you guys have made money and you've earned it because a lot of people bail out. I just don't have it in me, but I congratulate you. I like to see people do good. And I thank you, Coconuts. You've been tremendous to me, not just with the money, but also with the love. And I hope you live your dream. I hope you live the second half of your tag name, Coconuts and Dreams. Named after Cocktails and Dreams, which was a great movie with Tom Cruise in the late 80s, early 90s, where it was a young up-and-coming guy who was brought up in Manhattan, became a bartender, wanted to be an entrepreneur, and he went down. He ended up down in the Caribbean, okay, which is not too far from Florida, guys. Manhattan, long way, okay? Manhattan's closer to Canada. Florida's closer to the Caribbean. Never forget it. But, Kathy, it's great to see you. I love you. How was your day, Kathy? You're a positive woman. I hope the Lord bless you. I don't know if it's going to be Elon Musk, Coconuts, or somebody, but I know you're a woman of content. I know you're very content, but I also hope you get an extra blessing because you're very positive, Kathy. Love to you, and thank you for your support. You've been a very positive person. Very grateful. I'm very grateful. Look, I've had a couple people today, this one person, they create several accounts, and they just leave. They leave comments and then they reply to their own comments with other accounts that they created. And I understand, look, they have some type of mental issue. They have like multiple personalities. I'm in an episode of Me, Myself, and Irene with Jim Carrey, okay? I'm dealing with a lot of things. But I said to myself today, Sam, you have to remember there's so many positive people that have blessed you online. And I'm very grateful to have a growing channel, growing subscribers, growing views, growing super chats. It's growing. All my analytics are up. And I don't say that in pride. I say that in work ethic of consistency, the grace of God, and gratitude. Okay, not entitlement. Because I recognize my YouTube channel can go down tomorrow. And if I buy an RV, I will not bank on having YouTube. Now, I would use my RV as a depreciating asset to write off during tax season because I would, it's part of my, channel. But I don't want to get something just for a tax write-off. Why? Because that's only one part of a financial equation. Bottom line is you want cash flow. You want to make money, not just write off money. Okay. So, that's a lot of people get lost in that algorithm of, oh, it's a tax write-off. That's true. And that's good. But bottom line is you always want to at least be able to see the end result of, making net profit. So Kathy, overall I had a good day, but I'm still emotionally torn on what to do. Whether buy a home base, buy an RV. I went back and I looked at that Class B Patriot $137,000 RV today. And one thing I consider is where am I going to park it? I got a few options. And you guys play this out in your head. Where are you going to park your RV? That's the biggest thing. Now, I have a lot of cheap options. I could get the Thousand Trails Camping Pass. But then I'm just saying that I'm going to basically live in those places for the foreseeable future. Am I mad at that? No, because I would just use it for a place to park, and then during the day, I'd be out and about. But, I'm kind of like tied to those parks. Now, if you have a travel trailer, you're disconnected a little bit because you still got your regular car. If you're motorhome, you're going to be zipping back and forth. Now, a diesel motorhome gets better gas mileage than a regular regular gas motorhome or whatever, but it's more maintenance expense. Okay. So, these are some, now the other option, you buy a home base. So you have a house, you park your RV on the side. My only problem with parking your RV on the side of your house, it's good if you have the disposable income, but it's like, if you already have a house, do you really need an RV? You're pretty much getting an RV because you're saying you don't want to go to hotels, which I understand because I don't like hotels either. And you're just justifying it, or you're buying it at a level where you can just afford to, take the L. I told the RV dealer today, so I'm not ready to sign something. I said, but, look, it is what it is. It's a depreciating asset. I take the L because even if I take great care of it, if I put little miles on it, it's going down in value. Anyone, travel trailer or motorhome. But the other thing, thank you again, Coconuts, brother. Keep pushing forward to your dreams, man, because you got the money. This is the other thing I found about life. You can have the money which is great because you need the money. I want to tell everyone out there, if you're young, middle-aged, or if you're not able to live off investments or you don't have enough money to do that, nothing wrong with working. There's nothing wrong with finding a better job that suits your passion and purpose. But there's nothing wrong with DoorDash, cleaning houses, or working for a corporation. Why? Because you rather work for a corporation, you rather work for Home Depot than Harry's Hardware. Because Home Depot, you can get benefits, you can move up, etc. Harry's Hardware, you're going to get probably paid under the table, not much. Thank you again, Kathy. Coconuts, have you been to, I don't know how to say this properly, Las Olas in Fort Lauderdale? No, I've never heard of that. I've been to Fort Lauderdale. I did a video about in Fort Lauderdale, a couple of them. If you YouTube search Inspirational Nomad Fort Lauderdale, you'll see about 3 to 5 videos I did of Fort Lauderdale. Fort Lauderdale is congested. I don't like it. It's a beautiful spot, especially if you like to go out to restaurants, bars, etc. I don't really like to go south of Boca Raton. Why? It's just too congested. I go a little bit south. I go to Delray Beach. I go to Pompano Beach sometimes in there. But even there, guys, it's very congested, So, I struggle if I buy a home base, how far south do I want to go? So, I go back and forth in my mind in that. That's the one good thing about the 1,000 Trails. They have an Encore Park in Pompano Beach. They have an Encore Park in Vero Beach, an Encore Park in Melbourne. So, kind of go up and down a little bit. And, of course, they have parks all across Florida. So Florida is a great state if you were struggling on where to park an RV, if you had the 1,000 Trails membership or pass. So I look at that, I just don't know if I want to keep moving once a month or twice a month. And, I at some point, am I putting all my money in things that aren't building up any equity? I have to think about that. Now let's go to number 2. Okay. So one is, where to park your RV. You have to consider that because that's going to create a lifestyle. 2 is, where are you going to drive it? To my point, it's like whether you have a tow behind travel trailer or whether you have a motorhome, whether Class B, Class C, or Class A. Where are you planning to drive it? Are you going to drive it just around Florida and travel only up north in the summer? Are you going to travel around the country? Do you want to see each state? Are you one of those people that have like the United States map on your RV and you want to put each state, you want to fill them in because that's an adventure to you. That's your desire. Again, I know I talk rough about I mainly just love Florida. I really don't like any other places. I'll just leave Florida when there's a hurricane. But guys, that I'm just speaking about me. For some people, they love to travel across and see different things, different states. For me, no, I found that most states, there's not much to see. Most of the population is concentrated on the coast. That's why there's not many 1,000 Trails inland. And the things that are worth seeing where there's built up infrastructure is in the areas where people settle. Do you want to go to Dollyland in Tennessee or do you want to go to, Disney World in Florida? Dollyland is a disaster. I mean, did you ever see that video of that? Shout out to my man Journey with Jordan in Tennessee. They got no state income tax. I got love for them. Shout out to my man Camper Life. He has a good channel. But you have to consider where you're going to drive it. Okay. You're going up and down the map. You're going into Canada. You're going into Alaska. Shout out to ESP. She lives out of her MV200, now renting an Airbnb. That all plays a part, because that plays a part in what type of RV. Does it need to have an off-road package? Does it need to have 4x4? A lot of people now, they're into these Class Bs that are 4x4. Now, the Patriot I'm looking at is only a 2-wheel drive, which I'm fine with because I'm not doing any off-roading. My Jeep Renegade is a 4x4, and I used it when I live in New Jersey with snow, but I never use it anymore, and I don't plan to. And it's another component when you have a 4x4 vehicle because it requires another fluid to be changed every 80,000 miles, differentiating fluid. And it's another, it's just another expense if you're not going to use it. Now, there's some people, they like to go to Arizona, they like to go into the mountains, and they need that 4x4 capability to accomplish where they want to drive. The number 2 thing you have to consider when buying an RV is where you're going to drive. That determines again, if you need an off-road package, if you need 4x4, how expensive an RV do you want to drive down a dirt road, etc. So those are things you have to think about. And the third thing you have to think about is where to maintain it. Okay. Now, if you get a travel trailer, there's not much to maintain. All the appliances inside the travel trailer are warranted by third-party vendors, third-party manufacturers. So, really, if you need to get them serviced, if it's outside the 1-year warranty, you're going to reach out to the manufacturer and have the part shipped. And you probably have to take it to a RV dealership if you wanted to get it serviced. So that's something you have to consider. Where do you live? How many RV dealerships are there to service it, or offshoot small shops that would work on it? Most travel trailers of smaller and medium size, you shouldn't have a major issue because there's not many components other than basic appliances. If you have a fifth wheel, that's something you have to consider, okay, which is a very big travel trailer. Okay. Now, when it comes to motorhomes, if you have a Class A, that definitely has to be a huge consideration. The Class A is like the big John Madden bus. If you get that big bus, you have to consider, where are you going to maintain that? That's going to be a specialized shop. You need to research that, and you need to map that out, how that would look to get your oil. Like, if you have to get your oil changed in a Class A motorhome, you're not going to Jiffy Lube. Like, I'm looking at a Class B 19-foot camper van, Mercedes-Benz diesel chassis. And I called Valvoline Express. I called the different Mercedes dealers to see where can I get routine maintenance oil changes. Okay. Now, all Mercedes dealers, they don't work on Sprinters because they don't have the lifts. Now, some of the Valvoline Expresses that have the underneath pit where you just drive your car on top of it and they service from underneath, they'll work on some of the camper vans that are under 20 feet. But something as an oil change, something as changing your brakes, something as big as a transmission or engine, these are all things that you need to consider where you're going to maintain them. So to recap, 3 things you need to consider when thinking about purchasing an RV, which is one, if not the biggest purchase you'll make, because they can cost just as much as a house. And for some people, they live in them. Okay. So 3 things. One is, where are you going to park it? Campground, RV park, at your house. Do you have a spot at your house? That's going to determine a lot of times where you are. That's a lifestyle. Number 2 is, where are you going to drive it? Do you plan to drive it around the country? Do you plan to drive it only north and south based on summer and winter? Do you plan to go off-roading? Do you need 4x4, etc.? Where are you going to maintain it? Where are the local RV shops? Where are the oil change spots, the etc., brake spots, all those things, okay? Parts, So these are some things in a structured topic that I want to give you information, something I'm thinking about, stressful, emotional, and then you may say, screw it, I'm going to live in my Jeep. I'm just going to travel out of my car, SUV. And it is easier. Look, it's simpler to travel out of a car, Prius, small cargo van, than it is to buy an RV. It's cheaper, more cost-effective, and simpler. Okay. So an RV is a toy. It's a luxury. Now, again, if you're going to live in it full-time, you can consider it a little bit more than a toy. You can consider it your house. But unlike a house, it's going down in value, not up. And I'll close on this as far as the structured topic. Then we'll go into all live chats. Thank you again, Coconuts, for the super chat. Thank you, Kathy. You'd like to be a member, click that blue join button. Thank you. Click the thumbs up. Thank you. I'll leave you with this. Okay. If today I was going to buy a $130,000 single family house, it would be below my means. And for most people, it'd be below their means. The average house right now in America is around $300,000. Most people, okay, could afford around a $130,000 house. Now, if I were to buy an RV at $130,000 and make it my house as a full-time nomad, it would still be below my means, because it's the same as the house price. However, again, the house goes up in value over time on average, and the RV goes down in value. So see, you can buy a house or an RV at the same price, and they could be below your means, which is good. You got to be that. But one could be a good investment and one a bad. However, life is a matter of how you want to live it, what you're willing to accept, what you're not. And you have to be willing to face these realities when we're talking about recreational vehicles, because that's what RVs stand for. All right. I'll take a hibernation, Jake. I hope you guys appreciate these videos. Thank you again, Coconuts. Bitcoin to 500,000. Why? Because I don't know, man. To me, don't make much sense. Pluto, I love you, brother. I'm so proud of you, man. Pluto, you're doing a great job. Okay, guys, if you get a motorhome, you can still rent Hertz rental cars. I looked into this. They do monthly rental for cars if you want to DoorDash. Okay, with the insurance and everything. You got to check into where they're located by you. But I looked into this. I said, man, if I got a Class B, I thought about Pluto because he rents a car right now. I know a couple people that do it. Right now, a lot of people do that. You can rent a car through Hertz. Hertz is a car rental company in America. You can rent a car through Hertz for door dashing or Uber specifically. And I got it priced anywhere between $600 a month to $1,000 a month. And if you did DoorDash full time for a month, you would in a decent area, you'd probably make $2,500 to $3,000 a month. So you would just have to deduct, whatever your car rental expense, which it does suck, but that's part of your tax write-off, less income, so it's less you have to pay in tax. And obviously, you got no wear and tear, you got no depreciation on your car because you're using the car rental. Now, is that an ideal situation? No, but it's another option, okay? And it still gets you cash flow if you were totally in an emergency mode, right? Or if you didn't have the money to buy, you didn't want to rent, you needed a short-term fix. You always have to know all your options, okay? There's nothing wrong with utilizing some options that may not be for the long term, because in some instances, we're just trying to get through the day. We're just trying to build momentum. Okay, and then we reevaluate once we build up a steadier base and we get out of emergency mode. So Pluto, I'm proud of you, brother. You're a great man. I think about you often. I know it's still not easy dealing with the death of your mother. May she rest in peace. Shout out to your brother. I think about that. I know when I lose my mother, it's, when I lost my dog is one of the hardest things, and I'm sure same thing with a mother. Thank God for all those who still have their mother, even though I still believe that as an adult, as long as you have the ability and your parent can live independently, you have to go live your life. Because I've seen dysfunction happen when adult children stay in the house too long. And I even seen it, with myself. Now, again, if there's an extreme circumstance, if someone's hurt, or if you get laid off, or whatever, you go through a divorce, then there's always that, but it's like, again, you want to get out of emergency mode. Pluto, I love you. I'm proud of you. Keep doing you, man. Marcel, shout out to the UK, man. Thank you again. When I was traveling with my granddad in his Class A motorhome, that's the big one, like a bus, in the middle of the summer once, the AC died on us, and it didn't get repaired during our 1-week trip. Wow. Yeah, that's brutal. Now, the big Class A's, they have a 50-amp service. When you're looking at RVs, there are going to be two different types of electrical service that they talk about. Is it a 30-amp or a 50-amp? Usually, the only RVs that are 50 amp are Class A, the big bus ones, or a fifth wheel. Some bigger travel trailers, yeah, but most of the normal, medium to smaller travel trailers, 30 amp. Most of the Class B vans and Class C, 30 amp. So it's just like your electrical service for your house. The average house probably has a 200 amp service. The old ones may have a 100 amp service. So it's just basically the power capacity of the electrical service that you're looking to utilize for your RV. And the reason that the Class A motorhome and the bigger ones are 50 amp is because they have two air conditionings in most time. They have two air conditioners. Like one is, I know working as an electrical contractor, when I was ever called to a house, when I did work on my own as in residential, when I was ever called to a house and if a circuit breaker tripped, you always looked at a few things because that really draw the most power and cause an issue. The air conditioner, okay. The appliances, the refrigerator, microwave, furnace, the major components that sometimes are 220 volt electrical dryer, those sometimes can cause havoc if they're all used at once or if there's too much draw on the line, etc. And the other time, this is just a pro tip for all my electricians out there, if you ever can't find why certain outlets are not on in the house, it may be a GFCI breaker that tripped somewhere, usually in the basement or garage, and that was wired in series, and everything on the load side of that outlet got dead because the GFCI fed it. So if you've lost power to outlets in your house, okay, and a breaker isn't tripped, check the GFCI outlets. Those are the ones with the little push-in buttons. And that could be one simple fix. And same thing with the RV, which I've learned, which is similar. If the RV doesn't have lights or the microwave's not working, check the fuses first before you look at electrical line or whatever. So those are some things. There's a fuse box in RVs just like a car or house. Good to see you, Marshall. Shout out again to everyone overseas, man. Got people all over the world, man. It's a blessing to me. I'm grateful for that. Pluto, your message helped me a lot, brother. I am on the right track one day at a time. I know you are. Why? Because when you repeat things, you show that you're paying attention to the core message. And the core message is self-care, healthy relationships, time management, one day at a time. And that is your core foundation that you can build any life you want on that. You can decide if you want to live in California, Florida, New Mexico, wherever. You can decide if you want to get married. You can decide if you want to get an RV. But it all comes down to if you're not doing self-care. Okay, self-care is waking up early. Self-care is working out. Self-care is managing your time. Self-care is doing your laundry once a week. Self-care is brushing your teeth and flossing every night. Self-care is a healthy sleep cycle. Self-care is healthy relationships. If you're doing that, you're going to go through, some good times, maybe some bad, but overall, you're going to be able to push forward. And I don't have all the answers, and I know everyone has their own challenges in life, so I've got past the algorithm of trying to figure out everything in life. But I know that if when in doubt, do self-care, you're going to pretty much be able to at least push forward, even if you're really struggling, okay? And I do kind of say, too, when in doubt, don't buy, which I've practiced what I preached. And I've walked away from RVs, houses, etc. Now, look, at a certain point, you buy something, and, it's tough. I don't know. I haven't got to that point mentally where I'm willing to commit. It's very much an emotional, mental thing and financial. So, that's something that each person has to go on their own journey. But through talking this out, through me showing consistency through these videos for 4 years and documenting my life for the most part, good and bad. But overall, you guys see what it is. And I'm grateful for you, Pluto. I'm grateful for you, Marcel. Grateful for you, Kathy. Grateful for you, Coconuts. I know you guys and girls are on your own journey. And again, I know we may only be connecting for a season. But it's value. I think we're sharing some value, building up, edifying in a good way. We have some fun while we're doing it. It all depends what night you catch me on, okay? Sometimes we're amped up. Sometimes we're mellow. But for the most part, there's a direction. There's a focus. There's a structured topic. We're not just aiming at the wind. I don't want to know just, I want to know how you're doing. I want us to be able to share because it's good to just be able to share. I want to know that, again, as long, God willing, I got my health, I'm showing up. I'm consistent, whether weekend, weekday, holiday, whatever. And I also want you to know that you can change your life a little bit for the better. Now, there's going to be times you feel like your dream dies. Whether your dream is to, travel in an RV, or buy a house, live off investments like Coconut with Bitcoin. Believe me, I'm sure Coconut's had days where he probably lost hundreds of thousands of dollars. Okay. So, everything has good and bad. Shout out to Jessie O, my first ever member. I'm still grateful. I can't believe she's still a member. She was a day trader, a woman day trader. Okay, she had her own investment firm, Okay, now it went bankrupt, but she recouped, refocused, took a break. Okay, and now she's doing her own thing on the side, but still working. Like I said, when it comes to your investments, this is the strategy: have a main job, have side hustles, live below your means, pay off or pay down your debt. Okay, then if your investments don't work out, you're not destitute and you're not emotionally bankrupt, even though you're going to be hurt. And take breaks when you're really struggling, okay? And what I could tell you is humans need to take some risk. That's how we feel alive. However, we have to mitigate that risk. That way we don't kill ourselves, okay? So we learn that over time, okay? We repeat that which is worthy to be repeated. That's worthy to be repeated. Because in my opinion, until you have 3 years of proven profitability in your tax returns, proven profitability with regards to your investments, don't count on them. Okay. When you have 3 years worth of tax returns showing profitability and you have an average salary off that, then you can consider that as part of your income streams. But until then, it doesn't count. Like as an example, if you lost 100,000 in Bitcoin last year, but this year you made 50,000, you're still down 50,000. Okay. So what you want is in 5 years to be able to look back and say, all right, if I take the past 5 years, the first year I lost 100, the next year I lost 50, then the following year I made 35, then I made 35, then I made 35. So, your average may be somewhere where you're netting, you're making about 45K inside revenue, whatever it is. You want to have some data to study it. What is science? Science is collecting data, studying it, and forming a conclusion. Now we know that life is not an exact science. It's somewhat art. You can't just do a mathematical equation. You can't just do an algorithm and figure out life. Now, you can do algorithms and mathematical formulas to uh, lessen your odds and predict things in a little bit better manner. And that kind of gives you something. Jesse, oh, I'm so proud of you. You're a fighter. You've been gracious to me, just like Coconuts, just like all my members, beyond what you need, because you don't come in here that much. But I know you were. I remember, guys, I was very scared starting my memberships. I did it. I said, well, I got to build up a little bit more sustainable, predictable income with the YouTube channel, because about 1 million views gets you about $3,000, $1,000 to $3,000. So I'm not killing it on views. Okay, I'm killing it on consistency, views, super chats, and memberships. That all kind of averages out to a decent side hustle. Okay, but when I did memberships, I knew I would lose some views because I knew some people get turned off, and there's no guarantee that anyone will join, and anyone can cancel at any time. And that's how it should be, because no one should have to be obligated beyond what they want. Okay, but I'm saying all that to say, gratitude to all my members. You don't owe me anything, but I have gratitude, not entitlement. And Jessie O, I remember her. She was the first one who signed up. And I was just like thankful because you'll never forget, like your first tip. Like if you ever go into a restaurant and you see, like, I know we're in the coronavirus, but if you've ever been to a restaurant or diner or whatever, back in the day, what you used to see before Bitcoin is at the register, they used to have like a $2 bill or a $5 bill or a $10 bill, and it would be hanging behind the register to show their first ever tip in that establishment. And so Jessie O is the $10 tip that you see on back of the Inspirational Nomad channel. You'll go down in history, okay? Forever long I have this channel, you're the first tip, you're the first member. And I have gratitude to that. I have gratitude to the last member. I have gratitude towards everyone, even if you're not a member. And I think I've shown that through my consistency and honest communication, okay? I've never pretended like I'm destitute. I've never pretended like give you some religious or mumbo jumbo or over sales pitch. I've been straight up. I said, look, I put work into this channel, okay? Whether it's videos of Florida, videos of RVs, videos of locations, information, inspiration, something to spark you. I think that's value, okay? And however, it's just like any other work, like electrical work, plumbing work. Some people call Roto-Rooter and they're willing to pay $100 to get their toilet bowl plunged out. And we know that 90% of plumbing backups happen because of too much toilet paper or tampons or hair in the drain. Hair in the drain, too much toilet paper, or tampons down the toilet, 90% of all plumbing backups, okay? That's more value I just gave you. Now, some people decide to call up Roto-Rooter and spend $100, $150. Okay? Some people decide to go rent a snake, an electrical snake at Home Depot and try to do it themselves. And what they realize after they're covered in shit and their toilet still won't flush, damn, I need to sign up for Inspirational Nomads $9.99 non-committal membership. Why? Because shit, I'm getting more value than Roto-Rooter, okay? And it's non-committal. And I'm not backed up. So either way, Jessie O, thank you. Hey, Sam, out here still learning and growing. Amen. And Jessie O, if you're a successful trader, great. If you're not, great. Why? Because I think you've learned that you've got to have other sources of income. You got to live below your means. And if you make money off investments, it's great. And if you don't, you're still great. If you don't, you're still not destitute. Why? Because you have other sources of income. You're living below your means and you're living one day at a time, one step at a time. If you're making extra on the side, great. If not, great. Jessie O, Sam, give more value than most YouTubers with their fakeness. Thank you. Everyone plays their part. I don't want to beat my chest and say that I'm greater than anyone, because sometimes just like pure entertainment stuff helps some people. Sometimes some people that I completely disagree with, but they take their time to talk to other people, that helps them. I think, obviously, like anything, I think a lot of people are led astray, but everyone has their own value. So, obviously I talk about some people sometimes, so I don't want to act like I never blast someone. But for the most part, guys, my channel's not a gossip channel. Okay? My channel's a content channel. I create the content. I don't take someone else's content. Okay. And like I said, whether it's my live feeds that I interact like this every night, or it's my videos of locations, whether in Florida, my videos of RVs, which are my biggest one. People want to see what they could buy, how much. My videos of houses, or my videos of just information. I mean, look, you don't get 4 million views. You don't put a connection if there's not some value. However, you realize in life that at any time things can change. So what you do is you place things in priorities. You remember, no matter what you do in life, you have to show up. If you don't show up, you don't get a super chat. If you don't show up, you don't build your channel. If you're not consistent, no one cares. Because if you don't care about your own channel, why the hell will someone else? Okay. And if you don't have standards, why will your viewers have standards? If you allow troll comments, if you allow trolls, why would anyone else have standards if you don't? You're the leader of your channel. And if you don't like channels out there, why don't you have enough guts to go build your own? Okay. I've seen people do that too. And what I remember, guys, they caught me slipping one day. And I honestly say, I wasn't trolling, but I was close to trolling Bob Wells. Okay. And I was disagreeing with him on some stuff. And there was some woman in the comment section I was going back and forth with. And she said something, and I had to be humble enough to say, you know what, you're right. We went back and forth about a disagreement. And she said, you know what, if you don't like the channel, why are you on it? I said, you know what, you're right. Now, I may still speak about the channel on my own channel, but it made me focus, okay, that if I don't like something, I just got to move on, okay? And so I call it like it is, even with myself. I said, okay, you're right, okay? So, good job. Thank you again, Jesse O. Marcel, self-care. This tip has helped me the most. It's the best thing about my channel. It's the best value I'll ever give. No matter if I never buy an RV, if I buy an RV, if I travel around the world, if I never travel again, no matter what I do, the number one thing that my channel hopefully will get across to someone is a level of self-care. Not buying an RV, not doing anything else other than working on themselves. Waking up early, working out at least 4 days a week, okay, eating healthy, taking walks, okay, cutting out unhealthy relationships, taking accountability for your part in the relationship, because it takes two to tango. Men going their own way or tangoing in their mother's basement. They're not taking accountability for their life. And look, self-care is the ultimate calling on your life. And if you say you're bored, I say you're not doing self-care. Because self-care, there's no way you're bored and you're doing self-care. There's no way you don't have laundry to do. Even me, guys, I got one bag of clothes. I always got to do laundry once a week. Okay. There's always time, working out, taking breaks, doing something for your job, doing a side hustle. Okay. So there's no way, if anyone ever tells you they're bored, what you need to process in your mind is they're saying they're not doing self-care. Self-care is the compass to your life. If you don't know what to do, go for a walk. That'll show you what to do. You'll never outthink depression. Okay? Faith without works is dead. If you're waiting for the next lifetime to kick ass, you're not going to get a next lifetime. Why? Because if you're not taking this lifetime serious, why the fuck should you get another shot? Okay. Don't fucking fall for that banana in a tailpipe. I've seen some lazy, apathetic people give that bullshit. Yeah, we coming back 20 more times. And I'll tell you, motherfucker, if you ain't running down the court playing full court basketball, we're not picking you up in the next game. Okay. They damn right. And you could create another 20 profiles and thumbs down. Okay. Because what I tell you is this. That's the truth. Okay. If you don't like it, go kick ass in your own life. Self-care your life. Okay. I'm not your government paid therapist. Okay. I'm not your apathetic wife who's even lazier than you. Okay. I'm not your service dog who has to depend on you for treats. I'm a fucking independent man by the grace of God and through the help of others. The more you help yourself, the more other people want to help you. The less you help yourself, let me tell you something, even if fucking Bitcoin goes to 1 million, Coconuts ain't giving you one damn cents. Why? Because he's a generous man, but you ain't doing shit with your life. That's why we got the Federal Reserve. Okay. Thank you, Coconuts. And on that, custom member only, drop the mic emoji. Why? Because once you break that shit down, you walk off the stage. Okay. Let them think about that shit. I want to thank all my members. Thank you, Coconuts. Thank you, Marcel. Thank you, Jesse O. Thank you, Pluto. Thank you, Kathy. Keep pushing forward one day at a time, one step at a time. Peace.